what's your customer journey? Well, every industry has different variations on this. Insurance is discovery, awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, advocacy, telecom, learn, buy, get, use, pay, support, manufacturing, and even within a company in these industries, there may be differences, right? These are generic journeys, but your customer journey may be different. And if you're a diversified manufacturer or conglomerate where you have lots of different customers, you're going to have lots of different journeys, and you have to build these out. Now, what we can do, though, is we can understand and recognize that in each journey step, there are people and processes responsible for that. So at the learn stage, marketing is trying to draw people in. So they want to use good search engine optimization. They want to make sure their keywords are there. They want to make sure that they can, get the right customers. They need to profile customers. They need to test. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of metrics around that whole process. Then what happens next? People have to make a choice. Well, what does that mean? We're going to optimize their search. We're going to optimize that user experience. We're going to see if there are disconnects once they get to the site. If they bounce away, we need to know that. So again, there are a whole range of metrics that can be defined for that stage. The same thing with purchase, the same thing with use, the same thing with maintain, recommend. There are internal accountabilities and internal departments that are responsible for each of these things. Marketing is usually responsible for learn. Sales is responsible for buy, distribute and forget, and so on. And then you have the processes that are supporting that, and then you have accountabilities. Now, how does the metrics fit in with this? We can start to look at this from this is kind of a bottom up over here, but we're saying, well, how is the data, what does the data look like? How is search working? If I'm looking at support or any of these things in this area, there are tools that are performing in a certain way, and we can measure the performance. We can measure the quality of the data. We can measure how well those systems are being used. We actually have a complete framework for evaluating your marketing technology stack and applying these measures. But then we can also say, well, what are those processes? So there are processes here that are in support of that customer experience, that journey. Those are also things that can be measured, right? That's the process efficiency. And then, of course, we're trying to say, well, what are the accountabilities and what are we trying to do? And that's really getting into the business outcomes. So it's kind of taking that metrics layer cake, turning it upside down, because we want to evaluate each of these, and then we can start to look at how this contributes to things like net promoter score or customer loyalty or churn or any of the things that are important that will be contributing factors to a successful strategic plan or execution. So again, this is what's critically important. We want to understand each of these scorecards and each of these levels of metrics, because that's how we can track our contribution to the outcome. That's how we can build the capability. But again, when there's too much of a disconnect and people don't see the value, we have to map it out.